Hi, and thanks for watching my video. It's really appreciated. I mean, after all, you're the reason I make these videos. Anyway, if you do enjoy it, please take the time to scroll down and give that like button a smash. And maybe, if you want to do me a really big favour, you could even subscribe. So, without further ado, let's get on with it. Kate Elizabeth Winslet is a famous actress and singer. Kate is 5'7" tall and weighs around 139 pounds, with blue eyes and blonde hair. Nothing there that you didn't already know, I'm sure. According to Celebrity Net Worth, as at the end of 2020, she was worth a respectable $65 million. More than enough to buy a ticket on a certain cruise ship, I'm sure. Kate Winslet was born on October 5th, 1975, in Reading, England. Her father, Roger Winslet, was a struggling actor, and her mother, Sally Bridges Winslet, worked as a nanny and a waitress. Kate's parents divorced in 2010, and her mother died of ovarian cancer in 2017. Kate has a younger brother, Joss Winslet, who was born in 1981. She also has two sisters. Anna was born in 1972 and Beth in 1978. Both of them are also actresses. Kate has been married no less than 3 times. Firstly to movie director Jim Threppleton. They tied the knot in 1998, but divorced again in 2001. In 2003 she married another movie director, this time Sam Mendes, but they were divorced in 2011. Her current husband is businessman Edward Abel Smith, and they have been married since 2012. Formerly known as Ned Rock and Roll, Edward is the nephew of Sir Richard Branson. Kate has 3 children, 2 boys and a girl. Her daughter, Mia Honey, with Jim Threppleton, was born in 2000 and is an actress. Eldest son Joe Alfie Winslet Mendes was born in 2003, and her youngest child, son Bear Blaze Winslet, arrived in 2013. Kate lives in a beautiful house in the sleepy English seaside town of West Wittering in West Sussex. I wouldn't say she's an avid car collector, but she does have a striking vintage Aston Martin DB5, as well as a BMW and a Toyota Land Cruiser. Currently, she says she enjoys family life and doing the school run. She made her small screen debut in 1991 in Dark Season, and her movie debut in 1994 in Heavenly Creatures. Kate won the Academy Award for Best Actress for her performance in The Reader in 2009. She's been nominated on other occasions too, and yeah, one of them was for Best Actress for Titanic. And now we come to those top 10 movies. After Titanic, Kate reveals that she was able to take on roles that would demonstrate her talents rather than just for the money, so don't expect a rash of blockbusters. In 10th place is the engrossing Revolutionary Road. It made just under $23 million in the United States, and went on to gross over $75 million worldwide. Along with co-star Leonardo DiCaprio, the movie also featured Christopher Fitzgerald, Jonathan Roumie and Marin Island. Filmed in Darien, Connecticut, with a budget of around $35 million, the movie was directed by Kate's then-husband Sam Mendes, produced by DreamWorks Pictures, and released in the USA on December 28, 2008.
Sweetheart, what are you talking about? Where are we going to live?
Paris.
What?
You always said it was the only place you'd ever been that you wanted to go back to, the only place that was worth living. So why don't we go there?
You're serious?
Yes. What's stopping us?
Frank and April Wheeler always see themselves as far removed from the conventionality of suburbia. Yet that is exactly what creeps up on them when they buy a house in Connecticut. He toils 10 hours a day in a job he hates, while she, as a 1950s homemaker, yearns for fulfillment and passion. Rebelling against the torpor of their lives, the couple plan an escape that may push them to their limits. At number 9, Kate stars with Will Smith in Collateral Beauty. Along with Will and Kate, the movie starred Edward Norton, Helen Mirren, and Naomi Harris, amongst others. The movie grossed more than $30 million in the United States and went on to reach just under $90 million worldwide. Filmed in Queens, New York, on a budget of around $36 million, the movie was directed by David Frankel, produced by New Line Cinema, and released on December 18, 2016.
You don't understand time. No one understands time. I mean, Einstein came close when he said I was an illusion.
Howard, hey, listen, I'm sure it's a no, but Oneida Apparel asked that you be in the media buy meeting. I'm sorry to just barge in.
Ask her. Go ahead, ask her if she can see me.
When a successful New York City advertising executive suffers a great tragedy, he retreats from life. While his concerned friends try desperately to reconnect with him, he seeks answers from the universe by writing letters to love, time, and death. But it's not until his notes bring unexpected personal responses that he begins to understand how these constants interlock in a life fully lived, and how even the deepest loss can reveal moments of meaning and beauty. Next, we have Kate's Oscar-winning performance in The Reader. The movie grossed almost $35 million at the box office in the USA, and went on to reach almost $110 million worldwide. Just goes to show that great performances don't always bring in the big bucks. With a filming budget around $30 million, the movie was based in Saxony, Germany. It was directed by Stephen Daldry, produced by Mirage Enterprises, and released on December 14, 2008. In post-war Germany, teenager Michael Berg becomes ill and is held home by Hannah, a stranger twice his age. Michael recovers from scarlet fever and seeks out Hannah to thank her. The two are quickly drawn into a passionate but secretive affair. Michael discovers that Hannah loves being read to, and their physical relationship deepens. Hannah is enthralled as Michael reads to her from The Odyssey, Huck Finn, and The Lady with the Little Dog. Despite their intense bond, Hannah mysteriously disappears one day, and Michael is left confused and heartbroken. Next comes the J.M. Barrie biopic, Finding Neverland. For this movie, Kate co-starred with Johnny Depp, Julie Christie, Dustin Hoffman, and Freddie Highmore. In the USA, the box office gross for Finding Neverland was just over $50 million, and worldwide it totaled more than $115 million. Directed by Mark Forster, the movie was filmed in Surrey, England, with a budget of $25 million. It was produced by Miramax and released in the USA on November 14, 2004.
I don't want a flea's breath of doubt. We must get that kite in the air.
All right, look, I think I feel a bit more
Ready,
breeze.
Michael?
Are you ready,
Go on,
Michael?
go on.
All right,
You
darling,
can do it,
ready?
Michael.
You've got to
Hold it
run.
tight.
Run, Michael, run!
Run!
That's it.
This charming account of a period in the life of author J.M. Barrie reveals the real relationships and events that served as the basis for the author's most iconic work, Peter Pan. After Barrie develops a platonic relationship with the widowed Sylvia and her 4 sons, he is inspired to write a play about a group of children who don't want to grow up. The work proves a hit and winds up bringing Barrie and the children together in a way he had never expected. At number 6 comes the period drama Sense and Sensibility. The cast list for the movie includes Emma Thompson, James Fleet, Robert Hardy, Alan Rickman, and a very young looking Hugh Grant. The movie was filmed in Devon, England, with a budget of just $16 million. Sense and Sensibility was directed by the Taiwanese film director Ang Lee, produced by Columbia Pictures, and released in the USA on December 17, 1995. The movie grossed $43 million domestically, and almost $135 million worldwide.
Eleanor.
When Mr. Dashwood dies, he must leave the bulk of his estate to the son by his first marriage, which leaves his second wife and their 3 daughters, Eleanor, Marianne and Margaret, in difficult circumstances. They are taken in by a kindly cousin, but their lack of fortune affects the marriageability of practical Eleanor and romantic Marianne. When Eleanor forms an attachment for the wealthy Edward Ferrars, his family disapproves and separates them. And though Mrs. Jennings tries to match the worthy and rich Colonel Brandon to her, Marianne finds the dashing and fiery John Willoughby more to her taste. At number 5 we have Contagion, which, considering the current situation, is a little too close to reality for comfort. Directed in Casablanca, Morocco by Steven Soderbergh, with a budget of around $60 million, the movie co-starred Matt Damon, Jude Law, Gwyneth Paltrow and Lawrence Fishburne. Contagion grossed over $75 million at the box office and made over $135 million worldwide. It was produced by Warner Brothers and released on September 11th, 2011.
Immune response.
And?
No protective antibodies, a lot of dead monkeys.
Can you get to the part where there's good news?
Now we have to try a live attenuated virus.
Like with polio?
Exactly. The only danger with a live virus is the possibility that it will revert to wild type and kill the host.
When will we know about that?
I'll ask the monkeys.
Soon after her return from a business trip to Hong Kong, Beth Emhoff dies from what is a flu or some other type of infection. Her young son dies later the same day. Her husband Mitch, however, seems immune. Thus begins the spread of a deadly infection. For doctors and administrators at the US Centers for Disease Control, several days pass before anyone realises the extent or gravity of this new infection. They must first identify the type of virus in question and then find a means of combating it, a process that will likely take several months. And next we have the house swap movie, The Holiday, co-starring Cameron Diaz, Jude Law, Jack Black and Edward Burns. The Holiday was filmed in Surrey, England, with a budget of $85 million. It was directed by Nancy Meyers and produced by Columbia Pictures and released on December 10th, 2006. The domestic box office revenue reached more than $60 million domestically and topped $200 million worldwide.
Iris and Amanda are in exactly the same place.
Where do I want to go? By myself? Depressed at Christmas.
Just 6,000 miles apart.
Home exchange. We switch houses, cars, everything. Bingo. I need you to answer this. Are there any men in your town? Perfect.
In London, Iris Simpkins writes a wedding column in a newspaper and nurtures an unrequited love for her colleague Jasper Bloom. As Christmas approaches, she is informed that Jasper is engaged to marry another colleague, and her life turns upside down. In Los Angeles, the movie trailer's maker Amanda Woods has just split with her unfaithful boyfriend Ethan, and wants to forget him. Through a house exchange website, Amanda impulsively swaps her mansion for Iris's cottage in Surrey for the holidays. In the number 3 position, we have Kate's first delve into the world of franchise movies, Divergent. Kate is joined by a cast including Shailene Woodley, Theo James, Jay Courtney and Ashley Judd. The movie was directed by Neil Berger in Chicago, with a budget of around $85 million. It was produced by Summit Entertainment and released in the USA on March 23, 2014, grossing over $150 million domestically and almost $290 million worldwide. By far the biggest earner in the list so far.
Shut it down.
Set in a futuristic dystopia where society is divided into 5 factions that each represent a different virtue, teenagers have to decide if they want to stay in their faction or switch to another for the rest of their lives. Triss Pryor makes a choice that surprises everyone. Then Triss and her fellow faction members have to live through a highly competitive initiation process to live out the choice they have made. They must undergo extreme physical and intense psychological tests that transform them all. But Triss has a secret that she is divergent, which means she doesn't fit into any one group. At number 2 we find the sequel to that number 3 movie, Insurgent. Kate once again appears with Shailene Woodley, Theo James, Jay Courtney and Ashley Judd. Also directed in Chicago, this time by Robert Schwenke, with a budget of around $110 million. The movie was produced as ever by Summit Entertainment and released on March 22, 2015. In the USA, the movie managed to gross more than $130 million, with the worldwide figure reaching almost $300 million. As she searches for allies and answers in the wake of the uprising, Triss and Four are on the run. Being hunted by Janine Matthews, the leader of the Erudite faction, Triss and Four will race against time as they try to figure out what Abganay should sacrifice their lives to protect, and why the Erudite leaders will do anything to stop them. Haunted by her past choices, but desperate to protect the ones she loves, Triss faces one impossible challenge after another, as she unlocks the truth about the past and ultimately the future of her world. And finally, the number 1 slot is held by, not surprisingly, Titanic. Couldn't be anything else, could it? Filmed in the Atlantic Ocean with an enormous budget then of $200 million, the movie was directed by none other than James Cameron and co-stars a whole host of famous names including Leonardo DiCaprio, Billy Zane, Kathy Bates and Bill Paxton. Titanic was produced by 20th Century Fox and was released on December 21st, 1997. Kate Winslet's top grossing movie made almost $660 million in the USA alone, and an incredible $2.2 billion worldwide. So maybe the filming budget was a big one for the time, but the return was just unbelievable.
Take a look at this drawing that we found just today. A piece of paper that's been underwater for 85 years.
I'll be damned.
All right, you have my attention. Can you tell us who the woman in the picture is?
Oh, yes. The woman in the picture is me.
84 years after the event, a 100-year-old woman named Rose DeWitt Bucata tells the story to her granddaughter Lizzie Calvert, Brock Lovett, Louis Bodine, Bobby Buell and Anatoly Mikhailovich about her life back in April 10th, 1912, on a ship called Titanic. A young Rose boards the departing ship with all the other upper-class passengers, along with her mother, Ruth DeWitt Bucata, and her fiancé, Caledon Hockley. Meanwhile, a drifter and artist named Jack Dawson and his best friend Fabrizio De Rossi win third-class tickets to a ship in a game. She explains the whole story from departure until the death of Titanic on its first and last voyage on April the 15th, 1912. Now remember, these are Kate's top grossing movies. There may well be others that people think should have been on there. Let me know in the comments if there are any Kate Winslet movies you love that were not in her top 10.